Don in London, hello. It's December the 5th. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance was alcohol. My behaviour, equally addictive, around people, places, things, trying to be perfect, collecting, never feeling good enough, always striving for something. I don't know if it was perfection, but I guess I just wanted to fit in. And drink provided me with a way into feeling okay about life, until drink made me feel very, very ill, and I couldn't stop, and life wasn't working. So I found myself in a conundrum. I tried self-will to stop, but it didn't work. Part of the human condition. I couldn't do it on my own, and that was my moment of clarity. And then the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, came into my life. Not by magic, but by a telephone call made by my sister, who pushed me into a meeting. But it took a while to stick. So I know that the fellowship of AA is a constant source of wisdom for me. Wisdom about how to live, because real people go to a fellowship, talk openly, honestly and willingly about their recovery. And the reason why it's anonymous is simply we need a place of sanctuary to find our truth. That's how it works for me. And as truth and reality are my spiritual foundation for living the truth as best I can with what I know, or the truth I know so far, and spiritual being the ability to cope with reality, conscious contact with reality in this one moment, the one we have, the real one, not yesterday and not tomorrow. So what is AA, and how does it help me? Well, not forgetting, AA is full of unique, authentic people who speak about their recovery where they will. I cannot speak for them, or AA, but I can share about how AA helps me. So what is AA? I'll share the AA preamble we hear at the beginning of every meeting that we attend. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. Sorry, I was thinking about what I'm going to say next, which is not good. I need to be in the moment. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And what I try and do here is share a bit of experience, strength and hope of what's going on. And I was reading again from this book, Drop the Rock, which is about two of the steps in the program, step 6 and 7, which is about how to find our emotional sobriety and cope with reality, how to deal with our character defects or liabilities when our emotions are at extremes and not fitting reality, and how we deal with our shortcomings, not doing enough of what is good for us, maybe, around courage, faith and confidence. And I love it. It's a great book. And in front of me here is the 12 and 12 steps and 12 traditions. This is the one I use here on the video, daily reflections most often. What else have I got here? Yes, I've got the 24-hour day book. That's another one. I'm just reading Jonathan Livingston Seagull again. And just over here is a big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. A bit dusty because I use a small one normally, but AA you can see on there as well. This is the primary piece of information which helps us on a daily basis. It's got everything you need to know about how to be sober, except for one ingredient: human beings. Human beings wrote it, and human beings live it. Live the program of AA, which is 12 steps: open, honest and willing behaviour, and the 12 traditions around unity, service and recovery in the fellowship. 12th step for me, December, is covered in this book, Daily Reflections, and the 12th tradition as well. And the 12th step reads: Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, I have a spiritual awakening every morning. It's called Hello Reality. We try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So we don't get better at life than anybody else, we just try and live life the best we can. It's not a competition. It's not about being right or wrong, it's about the quality of our experience. That's what the spiritual experience is, the quality of our emotional condition and our ability to understand reality. That's me. That's my opinion. It's not necessarily your truth. It's just as I see it, or as Bill used to see it in the olden days, one of the guys who was a co-founder. We have a tremendous debt of gratitude towards people who have gone before and are in meetings on a daily basis, because we're building our wisdom always. We don't stand still. That's the whole point of AA. It helps us move along in reality with conscious contact with what's going on. So for December the 5th in the Daily Reflections it says this: a new state of consciousness. He has been granted a gift which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being, that is, living in the moment. For me. Many of us in AA puzzle over what is a spiritual awakening. I tended to look for a miracle, something dramatic and earth-shattering. But what usually happens is that a sense of well-being, a feeling of peace, transforms us into a new level of awareness. That's what happened to me. My insanity and inner turmoil disappeared, and I entered into a new dimension of hope, love and peace. With, 3 words: hope, love and peace. If that comes to my life because I am open, honest and willing, and face the truth, just improving gradually, daily, and what might I feel. I think the degree to which I continue to experience this new dimension is in direct proportion to the sincerity, depth and devotion with which I practice the 12 steps of AA. And on the internet you'll find the 12 steps and 12 traditions writ large all over the place. And what's important to me when we're talking about the 12th step, which is about the spiritual awakening. What is spiritual? It's often been asked, and religious people have said quite clearly it's the ability to cope with now, the ability to cope with reality. So a spiritual awakening where we stop filtering out the truth and we get down to the brass tacks of being open, honest and willing, and having some personal values about caring for other people, hope and love, tolerance and love. Because don't forget, the worst prejudice we have is self-prejudice. If we have self-prejudice, it's the gateway to being able to be prejudiced against anything else, and that is so often the case. So from being an unhappy man trapped in the thrall of alcoholism, where I couldn't see beyond the next moment without a drink, how did I ever get there? Well, it wasn't of my volition. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I just joined in what other people were doing. And is it not the case that often we follow blindly? These days, I don't do that. I try and work out what is best in terms of being open, honest and willing to experience life as it is. See how I can fit in rather than control. To be a part of. Inclusion. All good, I hope, and only on a daily basis. So spiritual awakening for me is every morning knowing how I feel, why and what I can do, and having empathy for the rest of humanity. So go away self-prejudice, so I can't be prejudiced against you or other people. And when things are going right or wrong, the Serenity Prayer keeps me in balance on a daily basis. So to God of good conscience, as you come to understand for yourself, your view is your view. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change to start again. There's always a problem when I can't say it out straight away. There's something on my mind. It'll come to me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, for me, is just for today. Don in London, hello. It's December the 5th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. I'm stumbling over my words this morning. Yes. Recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, also addictive. Work, relationships, you name it. I could be obsessed and self-willed and running on self-will to the point of self-obsession, and it didn't happen overnight. It took a while to get there, but alcohol was the trigger in all this, or rather I was the trigger who found alcohol, and it took the edge off me. It made me feel convivial and joyful. I thought it helped me access, or I felt it helped me access my emotions and my happiness, and of course to an extent it did, because taking the edge off meant that I was fuzzy around the edges, and these days I found that being sharp and clear and in reality and facing life as it is, life on life's terms, is far better, because we deal with everything in the moment of now. So if we're alert, alive, in the moment of clarity, and every moment can be as clear as can be if we are sober and on a journey of progress, but not perfection. And what happened to me, I tried to be perfect in every department of life, and realised somehow that no matter what I did, there was always going to be a gap. So filling the gap with anything and everything, obsessive behaviour, led me into that addiction to alcohol. So I know now that I would have been better not taking that first drink when I was a kid. But you know, we can't roll the clocks back, and there's no point in looking back and staring and beating ourselves up. It's about how we deal with reality today. So what has helped me find myself in recovery one day at a time? Well, family, friends, community helped me as best they could when they realised I was in trouble. But being a self-willed individual and trying to use my self-will, they couldn't, and I in the end failed with my self-will, and that is just the way it is. Self-will will fail. I don't know how many times I beat myself up and put myself in danger by trying to do it on my own. That's what I was taught to do: put on a brave face, stiff upper lip, and get on with it. And the answer was, I was beaten by an addiction, and addiction is a disease, and I never realised it, and it's the disease which says you haven't got it. So there we go. It was a hard struggle. So what keeps me sober today? Well, friends, family in particular who love me, friends and fellowship, and the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. I never speak for AA. I never speak for the people in the fellowship either. Everyone is unique and authentic and shares their message of experience, strength and hope where they choose. And I choose to share how I'm doing on a daily basis and share some of the literature of AA which helps me keep on a sober path. So AA, what is it? Well, there's a statement of intent which is shared at every meeting. It's called the AA Preamble, and it goes like this, and I share it here. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I've just had a text from somebody I know who is not quite with it at the moment. And it's very hard when somebody's in the problem of drink and is still drinking, that the blame is pointed outwards rather than looking at how to find the solution. And with addiction there is no blame. It's a disease. It sends people absolutely mad, insane. And it's only when we start to get clear-headed again from not drinking that we start to move into a solution of learning the 12-step program if you're in a fellowship, or learning a way forward, a new path. And AA is not the only way, because if it were, there's a lot of people out there dying of this disease and getting no help. So there is other help, medical help from professionals, especially in the UK. I don't know about anywhere else, but there are other ways to do this. So if AA doesn't suit, find something else. But don't give up on yourself. That's the most important thing, and I nearly did. But my moment of clarity was, I cannot do it on my own. And after that, there were several rock bottoms to go before I actually made it into sobriety. But at least I had a bit more hope that there was a possibility, with help and with others, I could make a life again. So I have, and it's one day long. So AA literature, what's it all about? Well, the 12-step program of AA, all about changing my attitude and behaviour on a daily basis. 12 steps, it sounds like a lot, but it's not when we know what they are and how they work in reality. So 12 steps, 12 months, and in this book, Daily Reflections, it's all about sharing the message with others and passing it on, basically. But you can't, well, without doing the other 11 steps, the 12th step about the spiritual awakening, the emotional balance, and physically keeping well. All 12 steps, they all work, and they have a part to play in my life. So for today, and it's a 1 page a day, but each step covered each month. So step 12, State of New Consciousness, was December the 5th. He has been granted a gift of which amounts to a new state of consciousness and being. Many of us in AA puzzle over this, what is a spiritual awakening? I tended to look for a miracle, something dramatic and earth-shattering, but what usually happens is that a sense of well-being, a feeling of peace, transforms us into a new level of awareness. That's what happened to me. My insanity and inner turmoil disappeared, and I entered into a new dimension of hope, love and peace. I think the degree to which I continue to experience this new dimension is in direct proportion to the sincerity, depth and devotion with which I practice the 12 steps of AA. So, what is it saying? Well, somebody said they were trying to improve or increase or heighten their spiritual awareness and get to another level last night. Was it last night or some other night? But, the truth of now, to be in the moment of now, is our spiritual connection. I'm moving on, and I've just picked up this one, the 24-hour day book, which is not authorised by AA, but it's been helpful to me now and again. It says here, for December the 5th, AA thought for the day. In spite of all we have learned in AA, our old way of thinking comes back on us, sometimes with overwhelming force, and occasionally some of us have slips. That's absolutely true. I hope I don't have one, well, I'm hoping not to, ever again. Been a long time. We forget or refuse to call on the higher power for help. We seem to deliberately make our minds a blank so far as AA training goes, and we take a drink. We eventually get drunk. We are temporarily right back where we started from. Those who have had slips say unanimously they are no fun. They say AA had taken all the pleasure out of drinking. They knew they were doing the wrong thing. The old mental conflict was back in full force. They were disgusted with themselves. Am I convinced that I can never get anything more out of drinking? Well, the simple answer for me is yes. But, we're all susceptible. And if we're not looking after ourselves, and we don't have a program which keeps us in the right attitude and in the right behaviour, it's so easy to be forgetful, get angry, disappointed, desolate, rageful at ourselves for not being able to conquer what we cannot conquer, and that's addiction. So these days I'm very grateful, and as I end these videos with the Serenity Prayer to Acceptance, to the God of your understanding, all good conscience, God, grant me this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is for me, just for today.